one and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one, we're going to talk about interesting interview that happened recently between current featherweight champion Ilia Topuria and BMF champion, challenger, number one contender, Max Holloway. We're going to talk about this, how to view this interview, and what to take away from both characters ahead of the fight. And we're going to talk about Ilia Topuria specifically, collectively. But before getting started, make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification so we can collectively get this channel to 1,000 subscribers ASAP. I would appreciate that. Let's get started. Interesting recent interview that took place. It was between Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria. Interesting back and forth. What I got out of the interview is one thing really popped out, and it was very, very clear. Obviously, for the featherweight champion here, Ilia Topuria, who's not shy of voicing his opinion, always has something to say, and really, I think he took the world of the featherweight division at least by storm. Knocks out Alexander Volkanovski. All of a sudden, Ilia Topuria, one of the biggest stars on the roster. And not only is he a big star inside of the octagon, obviously with fantastic performance, especially the last performance against former pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet, Alexander Volkanovski, but he's also very charismatic, self-assured, confident, driven, and we're going to talk about how this can serve as a double-edged sword. Obviously, Ilia Topuria is similar to McGregor in some ways. How, might one ask? Well, it's the art of trash talking, and it is an art nonetheless. And it's an art that's not just been discovered. Muhammad Ali was fantastic at this. And obviously, many generations after that copied the style. This brings up an interesting writing. Believe it's called Steal Like an Artist. And this writing basically talks about the concept of copying other ideas. And I think that's exactly what Ilia Topuria is doing here. It's not that he has anything personal against a Max Holloway or you insert whatever opponent name, but he will try his best to make it seem to his opponent as if it's personal, as if he's taking personal digs. And like I said, this is fantastic as long as Ilia Topuria is winning. As I said, this is straight out of McGregor's book. I don't think anybody in recent times, especially in the UFC, did it better than Conor McGregor. Obviously, for McGregor, English is his first language. Ilia Topuria, that's not quite the case. Even though he's very well spoken, not to discredit his language skills in the second language. He's bilingual. He probably speaks more than one language. As far as I know, he speaks Spanish and English. He could be more. He could speak more than one language. But I believe the fact that he speaks English as a second language does not help him in expressing his ideas as well as he wants. And still, he's very effective with what he says. He provokes response. And in this interview, I saw it as just that. You see Max Holloway, and he did provoke Max Holloway. He told Max Holloway something along the lines that you lost 8 times. And obviously, Ilia Topuria is sure of his own abilities in beating Max Holloway, and this kind of got a response from Max Holloway. Max, you could just see this look on his face. It's just like no expressionless, almost. Very rare that you see Max in this state. Usually he's very easygoing, Max Holloway. But he told him, his reply to Ilia Topuria was, you're going to need the referee to save you the night of UFC 308, which, like I said, there's been many fighters that would have won the fights regardless, but were provoked prior to the fight. I can bring up a great example, and that's Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib is the type of guy, I think he even said it. This is very well known about the Khabib and some other guys from Dagestan. Another guy that doesn't like to hurt people was Zabit Magomed Sharipov. But Khabib Nurmagomedov, he liked to finish his opponents with the least amount of damage. That's why he liked to choke people out. But with Conor, the response that Conor provoked out of him, it led us to see what we saw that night, which is an iconic night that will live forever in history books of combat sports for as long as history is documented. And that's exactly what's going on here. You get a guy that's very easygoing in Max Holloway, and you got Ilia Topuria, who has a mouthpiece on him. Like I said, this could serve as a double-edged sword. Obviously, as long as he's winning, it's fantastic. It brings people in. People either love it or they hate it, and they want to see you win. Lose. Want to see you get knocked out, right? Like I said, this strategy can only work for Ilia Topuria as long as he's winning. But when the losses come, which I'm not wishing the guy losses, I'm just saying he's utilizing a strategy, and this strategy is a double-edged sword. I must say it again and again and again. As long as you're winning, being cocky, arrogant is good. But when you lose, that strategy kind of goes out the window. It doesn't completely go out the window, I think, after a first loss. But if you get handed a couple losses in a row, which is very possible, then that goes out the window, and then you're going to have to reestablish yourself or your character, in different ways, I think. But for Ilia, I think it works well for him. He provokes response, which I think you need to provoke a response. But at the same time, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It could either be beneficial when you're winning, but if you're not winning, it doesn't make sense to be cocky, arrogant if you're losing. Who's a loser and cocky, arrogant? Those two just don't add up. So I don't know. Let's see what happens tonight of UFC 308. Is this guy's... I mean, he's already defeated a pound-for-pound great in spectacular fashion, and that's Alexander Volkanovski. Obviously, Volkanovski dealt with a knockout shortly before that, but still, he knocked out Alex. We gave him the credit for that. Obviously, the guy's current featherweight champion. But if he does it again in spectacular fashion against a Max Holloway, then I think the guy's earned bragging rights, at least for the time being. But he has to get past through Max, which it seems like it's a Max that's been provoked by Ilia Topuria. It seems like Max is taking a little personal, which I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing for Ilia Topuria. How smart is this guy when he tries to get you to engage with your feelings? And we all know that if you fight too much with your feelings, you're bound to overcommit and perhaps get knocked out. It's a chess game. It's a strategy game at the end of the day. I do understand that when shots are being thrown at you inside of an octagon, there's not much time to think, but the least you can do is control your response and your emotions as best you can. I think Ilia Topuria is very good at that, and I think Ilia tries his best to provoke his opponent to lose their cool, which I think Max Holloway's onto. I hope his team are onto that, and they just focus on the fighting. Max Holloway does not have to be mad in order for him to give you a fantastic, spectacular performance. He wasn't mad at Gaethje. He gave us knockout of the year so far. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments and like, subscribe for more.